In this video, we will explain how to monitor a Bequant node. So a place to start to monitor the system is the dashboard. The dashboard is the home page of the graphic user interface and gives you a snapshot of the system overall status. So it has an icon for each of the main components of the system, and those icons show in green if everything is okay, in yellow if there is some kind of warning that requires your attention, and in red if there is a problem. The dashboard informs about the status of the CPU usage, the disk usage, the status of the network interfaces, the packet forwarding engine, that is the element of the system responsible of moving the packets from one interface to another, the TCP acceleration feature, this is a legacy feature not relevant anymore, the SSH service, that is the one that allows access to the command line interface of the Bequant, the web service, that is the one we are using right now to access the graphic user interface, and finally the network time protocol, an NTP service, that makes sure that the system clock is synchronized and up to date. To monitor in more detail other aspects of the system, you go to System CPU and you can see the load of each individual CPU core. The main components of load will be user load and system load. You can see it here. You can refresh the page to get an updated information. The same with memory. It shows the three main memory components: the system memory, the mpool part, that is the one used to store traffic, and the DPDK, that is a specific library that we use. And for each of these three components, you can see how much is in used, how much is free. And again, you can refresh to update information. To see the evolution over time, you go to System Statistics, CPU for CPU load. So you can see for each of the CPU cores the usage, the load over time. You can, if you want, select the last week up to the last month to see if this load is abnormal or not. Normally we see busy percentage, but you can also show, for example, idle time. This is like the reverse. System load, user load, and also the load due to network interrupts. If you want, you can also select any of the CPU cores, and you want also select the average if you want to see what is the average. The same with memory. For the three components, system, mpool, and DPDK. Also up to 1 month of information. You can, if you want, narrow to some specific period of time to analyze in more detail. And that's for the CPU and memory usage. To monitor the network interfaces, you go to the Interfaces menu option, and in Overview, the Bequant node will list all available network interfaces. The first one is the one dedicated to management. It's indicated by this last column here. This one is the management interface, is app, and there is a link, so it's in service. This is a very usual case where the management interface is the first integrated one that normally has this name, N0001. And here the second integrated is not used, and there is like 4 ports. 2 of them, the first 2, are not in use right now. So there is no wire making use of those ports. It's indicated here that is not up, neither of these two. And the last two are the ones being used, the last pair of ports. They are both up, so in use, and also there is a link detected. So the others, they are connected to another equipment, and the link is fine. So in case there are transceivers, this, or fiber, etc., this is indication that everything is fine, that transceivers are compatible, and also the fiber, and everything is ready to get traffic through it. How to see that traffic is going through the node? You go to interfaces throughput, and it will list all interfaces being used for user traffic. The management interface is not listed here, but the ones configured in the wires. And two in this case, you see the first one. This is the throughput of traffic going out of this interface, throughput of traffic coming in, and the same for the other. And obviously, because they are in the same wire, the throughput coming into one is the one that is sent by the other. You can refresh if you want to get an updated view. But if you want to see the evolution of traffic per interface, you go to Statistics Throughput, and it gives you a view of the throughput over time. In this case, the last week. For this interface, you can go to the other one. As you can see, they are being part of the same wire. They have the same profile of traffic. And this is where, by the way, you can see which interface is connected to access and which one to the internet. For example, in this case, this is the one on the access side, because there are normally much more traffic on the downlink direction than in the uplink direction, meaning that the one in the access side, the one connected towards the end users, will transmit more traffic, because there are more traffic in that direction, in the downlink direction. And you can confirm that going to the other one, right? And the other one is the other way around. This one is connected on the internet side and receives much more traffic than it sends, because it's receiving all the downlink traffic. Another interesting monitoring is the one regarding connections. So those are connections active at this time, established in the node. So the TCP handshake, they are just TCP connections being established. So in the TCP handshake state, TCP established means being accelerated. TCP other, that they are in other states, and tracking are the ones that are not accelerated but measured to serve as the control group in all acceleration metrics. And finally, the UDP flows. So you have, those are the categories. There is also IP other, that will be protocols that are neither TCP nor UDP. In statistics, you can see the evolution of those connections over time. And you see that the same categories as in the instantaneous version are repeated here. You also have a throughput statistics, where you can follow how much traffic is received and sent in both directions. Those totals mean that both directions are added in the graphic. And of those received, how much of it is being optimized, accelerated, received, and sent. So you can see in this case, most of the traffic is TCP and is being accelerated. In green, the tracking one, that, as you see, very small percentage, is normally 1% of the total that is in tracking. Forwarding will mean TCP traffic that is not neither accelerated or not accelerated. For example, traffic of things that are received in the middle. When you connect the node, you will see forwarding traffic, because those are connections already established for which the node will not accelerate or track those connections. Also in red you see UDP. You can see how much UDP traffic you have. And finally, policy and shape. Those are related to bandwidth management features and explained in the bandwidth management video. As in any other statistics graph, you can select last week, last month, and you can also move towards the period of your interest. More videos are available in our YouTube channel and website.